Hello everyone and welcome back guys to WXL, where today we're here back for another race here at the Russian Grand Prix. And it's been a little bit of a while since I last managed to race in WXL. With it being a midweek league, sometimes stuff goes on, sometimes work, everything like that. So hopefully coming back here today we can try and get a good result. Now recently my performances on the F1 game haven't been as good as I would have liked there, as you've probably seen from a couple of previous videos on both this and the main channel. So I would really, honestly, just wanted to make it through to the end of this Grand Prix with a good result and just see where we ended up at the end of this race. But yeah, we'll wait and see as to how that fares here heading in to the Russian Grand Prix. We did start in P5, I think. It might have been lower than that. I don't know that. It was carnage in the F2 race, I'll be honest with you. That's why we're starting as high as we were. We qualified like P15 in the F2 race, and yeah, we ended up like P5 or P6 ready for the proper race here. So wait and see as to how we fare. But yeah, coming into Russia though, I'd done one lap of practice for this one because I'd been at work. So managed to get back in time and just hop on to do this race. So we'll wait and see as to how we fare. I've added the face cam in, or the wheel cam, whatever you want to call it once again. I'm tempted to try and put the pedal cam back in, but I'm still having a few issues here and there with syncing up everything like that. So it can be a little bit of a pain still. But I think for this race it worked out quite well. I've recorded a couple more with it and it's slightly out, everything like that, so hopefully I can just work out some consistency with it at the end of the day here. But getting ready though on the grid for the Russian Grand Prix, it is 5 lights and it's lights out, and away we go. They're trying to get off to a nice clean start. This is such a long run down towards T1 here around this Russian Grand Prix circuit there, and we have actually got off to an okay start. You can see sort of 3-4 wide behind us as we head down in towards the first corner here. We've got F1 Gravity thinking about having a look up the inside in towards the first turn. There actually a lot of contact between the pairs there. I apologise to him for just tropping over the front end there, and that's going to mean Pred moves up into P5 of the Grand Prix there. I think, Gravity was a little bit late to the move there, but still, we should have given them the room at the end of the day there, as that's AMS Dasher trying to go full send up the inside there, and there's a lot of contact towards the rear of the field there, and yeah, that's going to cost a lot of them a lot of front wings, and yeah, everything like that. So we have lost one place off the start here, but honestly in WXL, it is a league that uses line. I'm absolutely fine with that, but it does mean, especially in the early stages of Grand Prix, our race pace really does struggle in comparison to a lot of other cars. KJ and Jax, I think, are two of the other drivers that actually don't use line here. Might be a couple more, but I think, for the most part people do, and that's fair enough. It just means, yeah, like I said, we really struggle in the early stages, just try and get them into a rhythm and everything like that in comparison to a lot of the other drivers here. You can see coming down in towards the final sector of lap 1 here, still all over the back of Pred, Kingsley and KJ as we head in towards the final few corners there. Yellow flags out once again. I'm not too sure who's been involved in another incident there. I think there's a Williams and I think my teammate in the Haas who's new to the league, but I'm not 100% sure in all honesty there. Unfortunately, might have to move the wheel cam just a little bit there. But through the final couple of corners though of lap 1, we have survived the opening lap of the Grand Prix here, but Pred was just running solo wings in this stage of the race. We were really struggling to match him down the straight there, and he seemed to be hanging on through the corners there. No idea what witchcraft he was pulling at this stage of the race here, but just really focusing on my own pace at the moment here. We still had Dasher all over the back of us here as we head down onto the back straightaway here, so hopefully we can try and defend from him as best as possible here, but I don't think there's going to be much we're able to do, especially when the DRS comes into effect here, and he's going to be able to have a look up around the outside there. Well, up the inside, he's going to move to the outside as we head into towards the braking zone there. He actually forces me to cut the corner there, a little bit of contact on the inside there, and then he's going to try and run me out wide on the exit of the corner there. So not too much of a fan of that one as we head in towards the final few corners of lap 2 there. So we're going to try and stick with him as best as possible. Not a big fan of being muscle out wide through a couple of corners there and just being thrown around like a rag doll as we head through the final couple of corners there. A huge tank slapper as we head out of the final corner there, but we do hold on to it. And yeah, you can see now we've actually got my teammate Wastel just behind us there, but not for too long. Jinx would come in towards P8 there, and yeah, we really now be just looking on the back foot in the early stages of this race here, just trying to defend from the guys with a little bit more pace than myself here. You can see as we head down towards T1 there, look at the run Jinx is able to get on myself there. Nothing we could do in terms of defense there, so he's going to be able to have a look up the inside. Yeah, nothing we could do to try and hold on from that one there, but yeah, we still hold on to P8 at the moment there, and honestly at the moment I just want to try and score some points in the late stages of this championship. I can't actually make next week out at the Mexican Grand Prix. I mean, today, at the time of recording this, we've actually got Japan later on today, but yeah, I can't make Mexico. So we've literally got Japan, Kota, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi left in the championship for myself. And I'd love to, you know, try and score points in as many of those races as possible here. Because see, on to lap 6, though, still all over the back of Jinx here. I'll be able to have a look up the inside. We're certainly going to try and look for it up the inside in towards the hairpin there. And you can see just a bit of contact. And Jinx is actually going to run to the back of my front tyre there, and that's going to mean we are sent round and sent back down into P12 of this Grand Prix here, so really not what we needed at this early stage still of the race here. But, you know, just wanted to keep my head down and continue on trying to make progress as best as possible here. Now we're down a few places. It should mean that we're at least on similar pace to a lot more of the guys rather than just losing positions left, right, and centre here. But yeah, still not the ideal thing that we wanted in this Grand Prix there, but on to lap 7 we go now, and less than a second behind Antsmaz. So hopefully we can try and close back up to him as best as possible. You can see over the next couple of laps a little bit of a train was starting to form behind Gravity, Wastel, and Antsmaz here, as you can see heading down in towards the next couple of corners of lap 8 here. Russia is a bit of a weird track. I know a lot of people really don't like this place, but when you get into a bit of a rhythm, it can be quite fun, in my opinion there. I think I'll leave the room before the riots do begin there. But yeah, I don't mind this circuit, I'll be honest with you there. And you can see, unfortunately, though, Wastel has just disconnected from this Grand Prix there. Not quite just yet. Now he's disconnected from the Grand Prix there. I didn't really want to try and overtake a car that was not ghosted, but not really there. But now he's ghosted. But yeah, we are going to be able to move past him. And now up into P11 of the Grand Prix there as we head in towards the final couple of corners of lap 8 here. Now all over the back still of Antsmaz here. As you can see, F1 Gravity still under a second up the road here, so Antsmaz, I think, is going to be helped out by the DRS here as we head through the final corner there. It's looking like we were going to get a really, really good run, but unfortunately, just getting a little bit of wheel spin there. But no, Antsmaz hasn't got the DRS on Gravity there, so that's going to be a fairly textbook move for myself up the inside as we head down in towards T1 there. And yeah, getting the car slowed down nice and tidy there, just trimming the exit of the corner there, and Antsmaz actually makes a big, big mistake trying to get on the power on the exit there. So yeah, that is us now back up into P10 of the Grand Prix there, and Gravity just a couple of seconds up the road here, so hopefully we can try and close back up to him over these next couple of laps here. You can see lap 12 though, Antsmaz still just behind us here, and we were starting to struggle a little bit on the tyres here, so we're going to take a little bit of a gamble and try to pit a little bit early in this Grand Prix and just see what we can try and do. Maybe if we get an undercut, that would be quite nice at the end of the day, and just try to hold on a set of the hard compound tyres here, because tyre wear isn't exactly a particularly bad thing around this Russian Grand Prix circuit. It's been a little bit worse on the last couple of games, but I remember back on sort of F1 2016 you just didn't get any sort of tyre wear around here there. But we do drop it in, get the car slowed down nice and tightly as we head down into the pit lane here, and now the game we're just trying to see if we can come out in some clean air here in this race, but wait and see about that. Pretty much now at the halfway stage of the Grand Prix, we've safe to say we've had a fair bit of action in the opening half of this race here. But yeah, now we just need to try and get our head back down and focus on the second half of this race. So we're going to come back out in P14. It might be P15 behind my disconnected LCR brother Wastel here. You can see, yeah, he's still disconnected, unfortunately, in this Grand Prix. There's nothing really any of us can do about that one there because, yeah. But yeah, we're now back out in P15 of the Grand Prix there. Try to get the car slowed down nice and tidily in towards T1 there. And yeah, now, actually, sorry, on a set of the soft compound tyres here, not on the hards, I completely forgot. That's just how little tyre wear you get around this circuit. You potentially consider taking a set of the soft compound right the way through half of this Grand Prix there. But yellow flags are out, not too sure what's happened there for someone up the road there. But yeah, now starting to make a few places back up as everyone else dives into the pit lane here. Back up into P12 of the race. And yeah, now really just trying to settle down into a rhythm here and focus on trying to build up as big an undercut as we can over, people like Gravity and Antsmaz here. But you can see lap 14, purple first sector even, I should say, of the lap here now, all over the back of my teammate there, original 96, and yeah, 1.5 seconds up on my previous best lap there. That is certainly looking like quite a quick lap at the moment there. Luckily for me, he makes a bit of a mistake, so it was a fairly textbook move up the inside as we head in towards the final couple of corners of lap 14 here, just over the halfway stage of this race here, and I don't think anyone else has dived it into the pits here, so everyone, on the medium compound tyres really trying to take it a little bit further in this Grand Prix there. But at the final corner, it is going to be the fastest lap of the race so far. There are 134.6. Really happy with that one here. And now onto the end of lap 15. A lot more cars now starting to make their pit stop in this race here, and they're going to have a little bit better tyres towards the late stages of this race here. You can see, where are we going to move back up to? We moved past Ant-Maz, we moved past Gravity, and now we're now up into P9 of this Grand Prix here, and we have, built up a good 7-8 second margin over the space of just a couple of laps here, so really happy with that one at the moment there, and just now trying to keep it nice and tidy and focus on not picking up any warnings or penalties here in the latter stages of this Grand Prix here. 11 laps to go now. I'm really now starting to count it down as we head towards the end of lap 18. Now, there is actually yellow flags out as we head down in towards the final couple of corners, and that is KJ out of the Russian Grand Prix there. No idea what's happened to him, but that now means that Jolly has wrapped up the title here in Russia there. Fantastically dominant season by him. Fancy wrapping up the title by Russia. That really does go to show just how quick he has been and consistent all season long there. And yeah, that moves us up into P8 of the Grand Prix there. And over the next couple of laps, though, we would have Gravity and Ant-Maz just sort of clawing back down that gap. Nonetheless, their LM Trading is going to dive into the pits on the end of lap 19 there. So that's us now up into P7 of the Grand Prix. So still making good progress at the moment here. We can see just trying to hang on to these tyres at the moment there. And now onto lap 22. You can see Ant-Maz just 2 seconds behind us here. We were really starting to struggle here with just a few laps to go in there. And Pred now in front of us is out of the Grand Prix there. So it all seems to be kicking off in the late stages of this race. It seems like a very odd place for Pred to bin it at this time of the race there. But yeah, that is just now up into P6 of the Grand Prix. We can't really complain all too much about that one there. And yeah, Pred leaves the session as well. So yeah, not too sure what happened to him there. But lap 24, BMG Nomad has retired from the Grand Prix. I'm pretty certain, though, he was behind us here. But now we had Ant-Maz and Gravity all over the back of us here. So not really much we're going to be able to do in the dying stages of this Grand Prix. We've got very little ERS, very little rich revs as well to play with at this stage of the race there. And yeah, not really going to try and do much to fight it from Ant-Maz here. We're going to just try and take the DRS down towards the first couple of corners here and just hope that we can stick close to him as best as possible here. I also knew he had a few more penalties than myself, so hopefully that could try and work out for us at the end of the Grand Prix here as we come in towards the final couple of corners there. Just asking the team here. I think Ant-Maz had one extra 3-second penalty over myself, so hopefully we can try and stick close to him as we head out of the final corner here. 3 laps to go now of this Grand Prix, and now we just got to try and take the DRS here. Gravity as well had an extra 3-second penalty over myself, so hopefully we can try and just focus on sticking with these guys and then, really not just, getting the places back on the terms of penalty count back here. We can see Ant-Maz has already built up a 1.4 second margin as we head onto lap 26 here. And Gravity, it looks like he's going to be able to have a look up the inside as well. So nothing we can really do to try and fight from either of these guys in the late stages of this race here as we head down through T1 and T2 there. Gravity, a bit of a moment there as we head through the first couple of corners there, but still he does slot up in front of us here. And yeah, that means now we really do need to try and focus on keeping with these guys as best as possible here. And as we now head on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, you can see the tyres basically did die at the late stages of the Grand Prix there. We did actually make up yet another place there from another car dropping to the wayside right in the dying stages of this race there. But Ant-Maz and Gravity still battling just up the road here. We're only 2 seconds back here, so hopefully as long as we don't make any mistakes as we head in towards the final few corners of this race there, we should be able to try and get past at least one of these guys in terms of count back there. We've got a Renault going slowly up the road as well there. I think that's a disconnected car at the end of the day there. But yeah, it looks like Gravity and Ant-Maz are going to come through in formation there as we head in towards the final couple of corners here. But no, through the final corner there, Gravity unfortunately gets caught out there and we move past him and back up into P5 of the Grand Prix there. Unfortunately, Ant-Maz, we did actually pick up another penalty in the dying stages of the race there, so it could have been P4 at the end of the day there. But Gravity picks up a couple of penalties. An unfortunate spin at the end of the race there meant that he would drop down back into P6 there. So P5, my best result of the season so far. I'm sure we can take that one there, slapping the noob that is EPT at the end of the day there, who comes through for P7 then, almost 20 seconds behind us. Mate, just get good at the end of the end. At the end of the end? At the end of the day there, mate. But yeah, Jolly does take home yet another race victory there and wraps up the title in style here at the Russian Grand Prix there. Jax YT in second ahead of Dasher, Ant-Maz and myself there, with Gravity in 6th, Sparshot in 7th ahead of Ethan in 8th there. So a good result at the end of the day. Somehow we held on to our P5 of the start of the race, despite being taken out and just not really having the pace to really hold on to P5 at the end of the day there. But that's racing sometimes. That's sometimes how it works in the end, and we are certainly not going to be able to complain about that one there. We actually doubled my points from the early stages of the season now, well, from the midway stage of the championship there. We're now up onto 19 points there. I think that means we're like 15th in the title there, which isn't bad considering I think we've scored points in just 2 or 3 Grand Prix at the end of the day there. So we will certainly take that in the end there. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. Do remember to get yourself subscribed if you're new around here as well, and you do want to see more WXL content on the channel. Like I said, at the time we're recording this, we've actually got the Japanese Grand Prix tonight, so hopefully we can have a good race there, and we will unfortunately be missing out the Mexican Grand Prix next time, but hopefully we'll be back for the final 3 races of the season nonetheless there. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. Do get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 300 subs on the channel at the moment, and yeah, hopefully I will see you guys next time for another video.